Hello everybody, this is Shireen Heidari. I'm manager of the Assessment and Development Center, and I will be giving you guys a workshop today on coaching techniques for school counselors. We're just going to wait a few minutes for everyone to log in, and then I will start. So just if somebody writes, hi, I'm here, so I just know that everybody is starting to come online. We'll just give it one more minute and then I will begin the workshop. So if you guys are here, just write your name and organization in the chat, and you can put any questions throughout the webinar and I'll try to answer them at the end. So you have any queries or anything, you could put it there. So just another minute and we will start. Hi everyone. So I'm going to start discussing, first of all, the whole point of today's webinar before we actually begin the webinar. So my background is in psychology, and then I moved towards HR and I became a certified coach. And now we hear the word coach and coaching a lot of the times. A lot of people are saying it. It's, I think, the trend at the moment to be a coach, and you see it, on Instagram, you see it on YouTube. But what is an actual coach, and the skills and the techniques that are used in it can actually be attributed to anybody when they're dealing with other people, whether they are their teacher, whether they are a guidance counselor, whether they are the HR or their manager, or how you deal with your colleagues, or your teams. So these are skills that are not just attributed to life coaching, but can be used throughout our lives. So now at the moment with this pandemic, schools are going through a major shift. It's a disruption to the students' lives, the teachers' lives. So this is an important part where we can start adapting some of the coaching skills, looking at the techniques, and just thinking as we are going to be communicating and working differently in the educational setting at the moment, how can we make this easier and more effective when it comes to dealing, whether it's with colleagues, whether it is with the students. So I thought this was an important thing to pass on to others. I will be talking about coaching in general. I will explain some of the skills and some of the techniques and the models that are used in coaching. But this webinar in no way will make anyone a certified coach. It will just bring awareness to what is being used. You can use it informally within your setting or when you're thinking of your strategies. But if people want to take this and get certified, then at least there is some background knowledge. Is there anyone who is a coach in the group? Okay, so even if you're not a coach, or you do have that background in coaching or in psychology, at least you'll have an understanding of what can be used. And then we will try to focus a bit about the benefits or the aspects of coaching within the educational field. So it is up to you at the end of this webinar to start thinking about what was useful for you, or what are you already doing that you didn't know was actually a coaching skill or a coaching tool, and how can you add value to what is happening now in your communication and improving the students in your educational establishments. So the goal of today is to examine coaching tools to support reflection, learning, creativity, accountability, and stretching skills in students. I will be focusing on students, but this can be used if you are a manager of a team lead, you can use it with others as well. So what is coaching? So coaching is basically a process that aims to improve performance and focus. We can do this in different types of ways, like teaching or mentoring, and I will be talking about those. But coaching is another way to facilitate learning, and it's helping an individual to improve. So the point of coaching is to develop another person. Coaching is a process that aims to improve performance and focus. It looks more at what is currently happening instead of just focusing on the past. And there are different models when it comes to coaching. There's different types of, let's say, belief systems or strategies of going towards anything. I'm not going to say one is correct and one is not, but I will touch upon the most used and the ones that a lot of coaches depend on. You might feel like this is not it. I would want to do a different structure when it comes to what I want to model my coaching, my communication, my performance development of others. So you can find those and look at the different aspects of it. But once you know one, you will basically know the others as well. So it won't be difficult to transition or change if you've learned another technique as well. But there is a difference when it comes to coaching and becoming a facilitator of learning through coaching and doing it through teaching. So we will talk about the differences of that as well. So for example, we will be looking at teaching, coaching, mentoring, and counseling. These are all with the purpose of the development of somebody else. So you as a coach or as a teacher or as a mentor or as a counselor are there to help another person. You're there to help another, you're there to support another person to move on, to develop, to perform better. So what are the differences between them? And you might find that you actually do a few of different ones, and that is fine, especially when it comes to the educational setting. So a teacher might be using a teaching technique to facilitate learning at one point. This might change into a coaching technique or a mentoring technique, but the person needs to know the difference between them and needs to know when to use which aspect or which type. So teaching and training involves an expert who gives knowledge to a student. So somebody who doesn't know something, somebody who knows, that the person who knows gives that information to the student that does not know. So we're passing on that information. Yes, teachers use interactive techniques as student learning teaching. We are more towards student-centered learning. There is that, but at the end of the day, teaching, the difference between teaching and training and coaching is I, as a teacher, would know more about a topic than somebody else, and I will be giving that information to them. I will help them absorb that information. I might do a teamwork, I might do a project, I might get them to present, I might be lecturing. There's different ways of doing it, but at the end of the day, my purpose is I've passed on information, and you will see that is what we typically need to do when it comes to schools, when it comes to universities. We're passing on that information. We want that student to come out of class knowing those, those factors, the ABCs of whatever topic it is. Mentoring is similar to coaching, and a lot of people mix mentoring and coaching up. But mentoring usually is a general agreement that a mentor is a guide who helps someone to learn and develop faster than if they do it alone. So if I get a mentor, I might be able to perform better. I might be able to focus better on my career or on my future than if I did it by myself. What happens with mentors is usually a mentor, again, has more knowledge about a specific area or a career path, and they can pass on that information. It is more of a it's an unequal relationship between the mentor and the mentee, where if I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, I've gone through this, you are somebody that wants to be a coach, so me as your mentor, I'm there to guide you, to advise you, to pass on information, to tell you the best way to go about it, the things that are out there, the opportunities. I might give you an opportunity as a mentor. Again, I'm not passing on information like I am as a teacher. I'm not trying to get you out of this mentoring session imparting a specific amount of knowledge that you're going to assess later, but I'm still guiding you on something. I'm trying to I might even problem solve with you or get you to focus on a specific career. So you might have students that come to career guidance counselors. There is a lot of mentoring that happens there, because We tell them, okay, these are the good universities. This is what we did. This is what another person has done. This is the path that you can take. So we are helping them form that path, but we as a mentor are forming the path with them. So we're still imparting. We still have more information than the mentee, let's say. Counseling is therapeutic. Okay, I do not recommend counseling to happen unless you are a counselor. So if you feel the person has some psychological barriers, they need to overcome them, it is something that needs to be assessed, it's something that needs to be looked at by a professional, you recommend them to a counselor, you recommend them to a psychologist. This counseling are problems that usually cannot be resolved by the student or the person themselves, and cannot be resolved by just chatting or just talking to a guidance counselor, no matter how much information that they have, especially if it is something that is psychological or needs an intervention. So instead of trying to resolve that issue with them or helping them with it, it is something that has to be given to somebody else. It's something that you cannot get involved in, or you might make the situation worse, unless you do have counseling experience and you are a counselor. We have a lot of people that say, I counsel my students. You have to be careful when it is, are you actually counseling, or are you mentoring, or are you coaching? If you're counseling, you should be a counselor. We tend to use these terminologies a lot without really understanding what is behind each terminology and what it actually attributes to. Now, coaching, which is what we are here to do. So coaching involves the belief that the individual has the answers on their own. It is more of an equal relationship when it comes to a coach and a coachee. So I'm not trying to pass on information to my coachee, but I am working alongside them for them to decide what they want to do. I help them focus. I'm there to motivate them. So the coach might not be a subject expert. So if you are a guidance counselor and your student wants to start studying medicine, as a mentor, you should have had experience in medicine because you'll be able to guide them where should they go. But as a coach, you don't need to have that experience. You don't have to have known anything about medicine because you don't need to focus on that. You're not passing on the technical information, but you as a coach are there to open their mind and get them to start thinking about what to do. So they have to start thinking about what their issue is, what is their problem, what they want to work on, what is their goals. You're the facilitator for them to think. You're not passing on that information. You are not telling them this is your problem. They have to come up with their problem. They have to say, this is what I need to work on. Okay? So we have the differences. So a coaching looks more at how are you going to do this? Mentoring looks more at the what, and the counseling looks at more of the why. So why does this person have this issue? We try to get to that. The focus of coaching is the present. What do we do now? What is the current situation that you are in? I might say, I've come for coaching because I feel that I am extremely stressed. So you would focus as a coach on their stress level at this specific moment, not last week, not last year, not last time they had an exam. It is currently what's going on and what are we going to do next. Okay, so mentoring is more of thinking about their future. What is their career path? What do they want to do after 5 years? What do they want to do out of 10? What are the steps to get up to it? What did you do as a mentor? And you start giving that advice. You will see a lot of times a mentor does use coaching techniques, and as I explain it, you will see as a teacher, you probably use coaching techniques, as a student counselor, as a manager, as head of a department. You are using it, but you just never knew this was actually coaching while something else was mentoring. Okay, and counseling focuses on the past. Why did the person become like this? Why are they feeling anxious? Why are they unable to focus? So they're more trying to find the cause of this issue and going back. Then they'll come up with the solution because of that. But while the coach says, okay, this is the issue. It's there. Why it happened, how long it's been going on. We're not going to focus on it. We're mostly going to focus on what to do about it. So the area of focus changes between coaching and mentoring and counseling. So the aim of coaches is to improve a specific skill, to improve their performance in something, in their life, in a topic. So even as teachers, you can use this as well. So mentoring looks more at developing and committing to learning goals. So mentoring is usually therefore looking at how to perform better in your career. So what do I need to do? What do I need to commit myself to? I need to do this professional certificate. I need to do this academic qualification. I need to do this internship. So it goes into that. And the aim of counseling is to overcome a psychological barrier. The objective of coaching is to raise competence, whether you are an HR and you're coaching your staff, whether you are a teacher and you're coaching your students, whether you're a student counselor and helping the students of the educational institute, or whether you are a team lead trying to improve your team. Mentoring is looking at opportunities and opening horizons, getting the person to have a better future, while counseling is the aim of it, the objective is to build self-understanding. Why am I like this? Why do I get stressed? Why am I anxious? Why am I depressed? Why am I having aggression? So they're trying to figure these things. So when it comes to these sort of issues, you might start coaching, having that discussion, and you might then have to start filtering and realizing, okay, this person needs a mentor, they don't need a coach. This person needs a counselor, this person needs to be trained in something. So you do have this. You can, as I was saying, you can use them together, and it is beneficial to use them together, but it's important to understand what they actually are. So what is coaching not? It is not there to solve your problems. It is not a disciplinary measure. It is not to manipulate someone. It is not a part of an appraisal program. It is not therapy. You are not mentoring or training or teaching the person. So you do not use coaching for those. You use some other method which works fine. So what is coaching? Coaching, number one, is understanding that the coachee has and can come up with the answers themselves. This is really difficult. So coaching is more difficult than mentoring because I have perfect advice to give everybody else. I know, I've been through it. If you are a student and you are now about to graduate, I can tell you exactly what to do. I am perfect in giving advice to everybody else in life. The difficulty about a coach is to understand that no, they have to come up with their own solution, and they might be able to actually come up with a better solution than you. It might be completely different to what you would do, but you have to control the urge of giving them the solutions, which is much quicker. And if we've been through it, we know what to do, and we will just tell them. Why should they go through trial and error when we've already been there? So this is the difficulty about coaching, that to understand that the coachee can come up with their own answers. It is also approaching the situation with questions, with curiosity, trying to overcome your own preconceived ideas. We have lived life, we've seen things, so when a situation comes up, we might think we'll be able to we might think we may be able to interpret what their situation is. We might have ideas about it, just because we are human at the end of the day, because of the knowledge that we've been given, the culture that we're in, our own specific opinions, experiences that we've gone through. We have to try to ensure that we don't allow that to come through. It is a desire to help others because it is extremely difficult to do. It is one of the most difficult ones is coaching. I've been a coach and I've been a counselor and I've been a mentor and I've been a teacher and a trainer, and the coaching is the most difficult one because you have to not pass on that information and allow the other person to believe in themselves and get to that information themselves. So you have to come up with creative ideas to get to that information. It is not easy as, what is your problem? What is the solution? Okay, when will you do it? That is not coaching. Okay. You deal with the whole person. You are not just dealing with them as a student or as a colleague, because other parts of our life affects everything. If I'm having a bad day at home, I'm going to have a bad day at work. I'm having a bad day at work, I'm going to have a bad day at home. So if I'm being coached, the person has to look at me in all aspects, about my home, about my friends, about my aspirations, about my motivational level. I might go into health. So you as a guidance counselor have to start thinking, or as a teacher, have to start thinking of the student as a whole. Maybe you don't need to focus on a career path, but you need to focus on the social aspect of their life. So you have to, well, they're the ones that are going to tell you that they want to focus on the social aspect of their life. So you have to ensure that other parts come into it as well. It moves people from a potential to an action. So coaches are pushing people to do something. And when it comes to certified coaches, life coaches, executive coaches, a lot of the times they will say to the person, I'm going to end coaching. I'm not going to coach you because you're not committed. That's it. You're wasting my time, you're wasting your time. So this does happen. If you feel that the person is not going to be doing it, there's no point in coaching them, because the whole coaching experience, it puts the responsibility onto the coachee. So they have to do something. If that doesn't work, maybe another technique needs to be used, but it's not coaching. Okay, it's a relationship between equals. As I said, when it comes to training and mentoring, it's an unequal relationship. Unequal means one person has more information than the other. Even with counseling, one person has more information than the other. When it comes to coaching, not about life and not about coaching skills, but about that specific topic, and the topic is your coachee's life. So they have more information. You don't have more information. It is equal. You have more. You have information about coaching and how to get to those issues, and they, as a coachee, have more information about what the issues is and what is best for their life. So it becomes an equal relationship. It is combining there's a spelling mistake. So it's the combining the skills, the models, and the tools. And I will be going through each one of them. Okay, if this as I'm explaining, if one of them you don't understand, please just put a comment and I can explain it more and more detail. There's a bit of a time lag, so when I'm saying it, I might read it in like after 2-3 minutes, but I will get to it, especially at the end of the session, I will get to it. Okay, so the roles and responsibilities of a coach. There are many responsibilities of a coach, and it is basically to keep the discussion focused on a goal. So we like to sometimes talk about different things, but we are trying to focus the person to understand what is the topic, what is the issue, what is the goal, and what are we going to be doing about it. Are they just going off to other areas or not, or are they keeping that? It is to encourage creativity. We are trying to think out of the box. If you are just sticking to the old methods and it didn't work, then why are we still continuing it? So there might be better opportunities, there might be a better way of doing something. The whole point of coaching is to help, not you come up with it, but help your coachee come up with these ideas, to think of better ways of doing something. And it is to provide feedback which is constructive. It is not telling the person that they are perfect. It is, if something is wrong, you do tell them. We are talking about letting the other person come up with their problems, let the other person come up with their solutions. You are helping them with that. But for example, you're having a person that is saying, yes, I'm going to do it, and the next week they still haven't done it, or it is a pattern that keeps happening and you notice something, check with them, say that, a lot of people are giving this report about you. So what is true? Have that. You don't have to be, we're talking about equals and everything, but you don't have to be super nice. You can be constructive with the feedback. You can give it. You can be strict. And as I said, sometimes a coach will say to the coachee, you are not committed to this. I'm ending this coaching relationship. I will not continue because you're not going to improve because you don't want to improve. And it ends. And what is the responsibility of the coachee as well? The coachee is supposed to participate in the process. They are not there to sit and just get the information coming to them. They are the ones who actually have to look at their goals. They are the ones who have to look at their solutions. They have to decide their actions. They have to report what they are doing. They have to inform their coach of their progress. You do not need to follow them to get to this progress. It is their role as a coachee, and this is where we bring the accountability. So coaching reinforces creativity, it reinforces responsibility and accountability, because you're putting all of that on to the coachee or the learner, or what position you're going to be putting them in. Okay, so I'm going to go into the coaching skills. Before I start, if someone just can tell me, they can hear me, everything is going well. So I know that you guys can still see my presentation, you can hear me fine. Okay, so I got a all good message. Okay, so coaching skills, there are a lot of skills, and I've just focused on the top 10 skills that should be included in any sort of coaching sessions or in your normal sessions, but they are using the coaching not the techniques, but more of a skill that they're using. So number one is designing an alliance, and we tend to design an alliance the beginning of the whole process, and we tend to reaffirm this alliance throughout the discussions, throughout the sessions. So designing the alliance, basically it is designing the contract. It does not have to be an official contract, but it is an understanding of what is the responsibility of the coach and the responsibility of a coachee. So you have a lot of times when a coachee will come and they'll say, you tell me what to do. And they think it is the role of the coach to explain their life, tell them what to do, give them the steps for it, solve their problems. It isn't. That's the difference between a mentor and a coach, or a trainer and a coach. So the whole process is that they first have to understand. They have to understand what is expected from them. So I've just been explaining the roles and responsibilities. They need to understand this. So even if you're not going to be a coach, but you're doing a career guidance, you can use this, because if these sessions are not going to benefit the person, why are you doing it? So you have to understand that this benefits them, that they understand what is supposed to happen, because maybe there's something else that will be better for them. Maybe they don't need a coach, they need a mentor. So have that discussion beforehand. And as we said, that coaching, it's not a disciplinary action. So you shouldn't be forcing them into doing this. It should be something that they want to do. Number two, it's active listening. It is not just hearing that information, but seeing the information. So what is happening with their body language, bringing it up, make sure that what you think you heard is actually what you heard, you've interpreted it correctly. So you paraphrase what they said, say it back to them. So the whole, and they might actually change their answer, because when someone says it back to you, you might hear that, okay, it wasn't that bad. So I might come, you know, to my friend and say, I have had the worst day today. And my friend says, so you haven't had a day worse than today? Then something major happened. And then I might think about it and say, well, I was just stuck in traffic. It was just a horrible day. It wasn't the worst day. So ensure that active listening is happening, that interpretation. So remember, I was talking about that when we come into coaching, our preconceived notions, we have to be careful about them. So this is checking that it's not my interpretation, but it's exactly what they actually meant. Questioning is extremely important. And when we talk about techniques, there is a lot of different types of ways that you can do questions to help get that information. The purpose of a coach is to get the information from them. So how can you get it if you're not asking questions? The most part, it is you as a coach getting those questions. So getting them to start thinking differently about the types of questions that you are doing. I don't want to go into it now because I will be explaining it in a bit, but have that different types. We have open questions, we have closed questions. Closed questions will stagnate the conversation. They won't be able to think about it more. They won't be able to come up with different or lead the conversation in a different way. Open questions really allows them to come up with an answer that you never even thought of, and we're trying to limit our knowledge, us pushing or leading the coachee. So one of the most important thing is that your questions are not leading questions as well. So I would be really careful when it comes to this, and see when you are telling them what to do and when you're really curious and trying to get that information. The other thing is, when it comes with a questioning, shows curiosity, it shows interest, and this is the whole purpose of it as well. So identifying the topic. So they might be talking about a lot of things, and especially if you're doing this with students, whether the high school or university, they have a lot of ideas that are going through our head, 101 topics. I think that happens throughout our whole life. So you really try to identify one topic. You're not going to be able to improve someone in every aspect of their life. You'll be able to get them to focus on one. So what is this? Is it that I am stressed because I have so much schoolwork and my home, and this pandemic is going on, so I'm super stressed and everything's online? What is my actual topic? Is it that I need to develop my skills on the IT? Once I get this, I'll be more comfortable. Is it time management? Is it it's unsure what's going to happen next, and this is stressing me out? So you have to find your questions to have an understanding what is actually the problem. Is it just stress, but what is it? What is the thing that you have to develop? We are trying to develop a person. We're trying to develop a skill. So what is it? Is it something that I just have to be able to manage my stress better? Is it I need to start doing yoga, or is it I need to do breathing exercises? So this is the whole purpose of it. Sharing constructive feedback. You are telling the person the truth. You're telling it how you see it. So we have sometimes a coachee that comes in, they complain about an issue, and you say, okay, what are you going to do? And they say, I have to do something, I'm going to do this. Next session they come and they complain about the same issue. Another day they come and they complain about the same issue again. You have to tell them, all you're doing is complaining. I'm not seeing an action, I'm not seeing a plan, I'm not seeing an improvement. You haven't done anything. The whole thing that you do is complain. So you do sometimes have to be a bit blunt when it comes to them. The other thing, the other skill is discovering core values. So what is really important for that person, and how is their actions going to support this? Is it the importance for me is to, let's say, my family is the most important thing for me. So is my core family, my core values, my family, and my family think education is extremely important. It's something that we do as a family. We all have our BSc, so I know that I'm going to have to do it. Is this what is motivating me to study more? Or my family are doctors, so I have to be a doctor. This is my core value. So my value is my family, everyone is a doctor. This is why I want to be a doctor. This is what I believe in. It's not wrong, but this is what I believe in. So you have to understand where this comes from. Why we need their values, because we can understand how, or help them move forward, help them to come up with their solutions or to come up with their ideas, their motivational level. If it's not to do with my core values, if it's not something I truly believe in, I'm going to get over it after a period of time. So we do have to understand. Next skill is recognizing saboteurs. Saboteur is something that is stopping us. It's sabotaging what we want to happen. It is our barriers. So what is our barriers? Is it me? Is it my friends? Is it my lack of money? Is it lack of time? Is it the educational system? What is my saboteurs? What is stopping me? Is it my negative thinking? What is going on? We have to identify it. So you as a coach have to try to come up with creative ways of them really getting to the saboteurs, because I might not realize what it is. You have to understand that the coachee doesn't know the answers for this. They think they know the answers, but you as a coach have to really question, get to the underlying issues to see if there are actually other issues when it comes to it, and really try to get to it. If everybody knew all of these answers, they wouldn't need coaching. But I knew what was stopping me. I know what my topic is. I know how I am, and I know what I'm supposed to do. Then I don't need someone to come and help me with this. I can just do it myself. So stating what it is very similar when it comes to identifying the topic and constructive feedback, but it is saying what you believe. So if we're talking about a topic and they start folding their arms and they feel defensive, me as a coach, I need to say that this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you're being defensive about this topic. You don't like it. It's touchy. Am I right? Am I wrong? You can have your own intuition. You can have your own thoughts about this matter. You've had experience. You just need to check it. You just need to state what you think is happening, what you believe in, and just check if this is correct or not. The next skill is to request, is to challenge them, and it is to ensure that they have that accountability. They might say what they're going to do, but you as a coach can challenge them even more. You can give them a request. So they might say, you know, I'm going to I want to improve myself. I want to learn a new topic. I want to improve myself. This is where my goal is. I feel I'm wasting a lot of my time not doing anything. I'm being inefficient with my time. So they might say, my goal for this week is to look at, you know, the courses that are available out there. You as a coach can actually challenge them. Do you think that this is not an efficient goal for the amount of time that they have put for themselves? Stating what is constructive feedback, you can come and say, well, okay, I challenge you to actually enroll in one of these, not just look it up, or look it up, interview, call the universities, or for professional certificates, and actually enroll in one. The last thing, and this is one of the most important things, is to champion them. You are there to motivate them. You are there to reinforce when they do something good, not when they do something bad, but you're there as a positive reinforcement. So we champion them. We tell them what is good. We give them that motivation and that positive energy. You have a lot of life coaches that focus on motivation. You have motivation coaches, there's motivational speaking. This is all to energize that person, let those hormones in their body start pumping, the adrenaline, for them to actually move and do something. If I feel down, I'll be demotivated, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to do these actions that we're putting and these goals that we've decided and all these challenges. You have to pick me up on it as well. Okay, the next thing we're going to move on to is, these are the main skills when it comes to coaching, and this is what we are using in every coaching session. So if you're using these or thinking about adding these to your teaching or your guidance strategy, or how you talk to your colleagues when it comes to your team meetings, these are the main skills that a coach needs. Now, how you decide to do this, we'll be talking about it in a bit when we look at different tools, different techniques, different ways that we tend to use. There are so many others, you can look it up. I've just given some of the major ones that I tend to use to help you guys. We have coaching models, the belief system. So we have the GROW model, we have the FUEL, the OSCAR, and the CLEAR. I'm going to focus on the GO model, and that's just because everything basically is based on the GO model, and we tend to use it the most. And when you're taught coaching, this is the first one that you're taught, and then after that you have a lot of people that have adapted the GROW model, have added another letter in there somewhere, and they've added another step to it. But the GO model basically looks at everything. So the GROW model, so the GROW, I keep saying goal and you'll know why. So the GROW model, G is for goal, R is for reality, O is for options, and W is for wrap up. Why they've written it in this way is because you need to have a structure to your session. So if you go to options and then you go to goal and then you go to reality, you might just mix up the process of it. And what they have found when it comes to coaching, having the strategy or having the agenda of going through goal, reality, options, wrap up is one of the best ways. If you go to the fuel coaching model, it is frame the conversation, understand the current state, explore the desired state, lay out a succession plan, which is basically goal, reality, options, and wrap up. Oscar is outcome, situation, choices, action, and then review. Clear is contracting, listening, exploring, action, review. So most of them are basically the same thing. Set up a goal, we see the reality, what's happening at the moment, we look at the possible options that are out there, and we wrap it up. So I'm going to explain to you the GROW module in more detail, and this is honestly one of my favorite ones, and this is one of my go-to techniques that I use. So goal, you agree on an objective, you think about what is the whole purpose, all of your questioning, stating what is, curiosity, all these different techniques we'll talk about, all of this will come to what is the goal, what is the topic, what are we trying to achieve? Are you trying to get an A in history? Are you trying to add more qualifications and make your CV better? Are you trying to improve your performance overall? Are you trying to pick a career path? Are you trying to pick a university? What is it? Are you trying to overcome the stress of your last year of high school? What is your goal? Reality is, well, what is our situation at the moment? There's different types of things that can be done at this point. You can do self-assessment. They can do, if it is colleagues, managers, your teammates, they can do a 360 degree where they ask the manager, they ask the team, they ask the subordinates, what is the reality of the situation? Where am I at now? So where's my starting point? And then we have our options. Options, you look at all the different possible solutions. Now, this is the funnest part when it comes to coaching, because you are sitting there and you're trying to find and try to be as creative as possible. It is not going to be goal, reality, solution, one. No, you have to think as many options. So there might be 10 options that I'll give you that are the worst options possible, and then I might give you one that works. So how will I know what is good if I don't know what is bad? So it's the, how do we know if it's light if we don't have a dark? So with the option, you try to get them to think. This is where the creativity comes, and if they're coming up with it, it's accountable because it's my solution. I have said this will work. So there's different ways, we will be talking about the techniques, but this is honestly one of the best ways, the brainstorming session. Sometimes as a coach, you tend to give options, you help alongside, and you give like the worst options possible, and this is where they start saying, well, that definitely will not work. And then we have the wrap up. The wrap up is where they commit to an action. You can start using SMART goals here. You can do homework, set agendas. When is the next time that we're going to meet? What now you have your goal, but the wrap up looks at which action plan you're going to use and what's going to happen next. And then you stick to that time frame. So if I say I'm going to meet you on Monday, I meet you on Monday. Because if I don't, then the coachee loses that accountability. Oh, well, you know, they're busy. They're not going to meet me on Monday. I know it's going to be another 2-3 weeks. I'm not pushed to do it. So what is it? Is it a message? Is it an email? Is it the grades? What is it that you have to put a time frame in it? It has to end with a SMART goal. So you might do it subconsciously. It's just in your mind that I'm putting my SMART goal, or it might be written just for them. These are the time frame. This is my specific. This is measurable. It's there. It's clear. Or you just lead the conversation in that way. So these are the things when it comes to, you would understand the skills and the techniques. So you are leading the conversation, but you are leading it in that specific order. You don't sit and then say, okay, now we're on the G of grow, so let's decide the goal. Now we're on the R, now we're on the O. It should happen like a natural conversation that is coming between two people, with you as a coach understanding that you're trying to go through this process. Okay, so the coaching tools and techniques, the different ways and the different methods that are out there, and you can look it up at Google and you can find out all the different things. different ways you can use it, but all of these will help you go through the skills, will help you define the alliance, will help you question, get the information, get the topic, champion them, set the goals, identify the goals, understand the reality, look at the options that are out there, the solutions, and it will look at the wrap up, how I'm going to commit the other person to it. So all these different ones, I've put the most popular ones and the ones that I tend to, I like, that I do use, but there are numerous different types as well. And if you're really interested in it and you start doing an actual coaching course, it doesn't end the amount of things that are out there, but things do keep being added, things do be new ideas do come about, and we do let other coaches know about it. So it is really interesting just to for yourself to start using this. And even a lot of coaches use these sort of techniques on their children, so even at home it's helpful. So you have a 5-minute pre-session check-in. So usually they tend to use a questionnaire or some sort of, I would prefer it to be something a bit more fun, just to check in before we actually start the session. How am I doing? What is going on? Maybe it is one of those emotion, the faces. They pick one of these faces. This is my progress. I'm feeling this mood. Just to do a temperature check before you start the actual session. If something has been before the coaching session begins, there tends to be a questionnaire that just looks, what do you think you want to focus on? What are the barriers? Just to get the person to start thinking for themselves before they enter the session. So these are one of the most important things. So even when it comes to your students, if you want to use a coaching method in class, a check-in of the different aspects, that the different information that is being passed on to them, the different topics. So if we say history, we talked about ancient Greek, we talked about ancient Egypt, we talked about the Civil War, we talked about World War I. What are the emotions that they're feeling about each one? How confident are they feeling about each one? Which issues do they not have any confidence in? This is for them to start thinking and understanding the areas that they would need to progress on or develop a skill in. Okay, the next thing is SMART goals. We were telling you, I was talking to you guys about SMART goals. This is one of the most important things. You need it as a wrap up. Okay, these are one of the most important things. If you identify what they want to do and you haven't identified, and you've identified how they're going to do it, but they don't know if it's done or not, you can motivate them. It's not going to be, do I tick it off or not? So if my goal is to be happier in life, am I happier in life tomorrow? How do I know? Do I tick this off? Am I motivated to carry on with it or not? So you do have to spend a bit of time to ensure that that goal and those options have been picked and they've made it specific. They are able to measure it. It is something that is achievable, that it is relevant, it is helpful for the whole topic, that this is my issue and these are my solutions and this is the solution. Is it actually linked? Is it going to have an effect or not? And there's a time frame on it. Then I can say, yes, I can tick it. So for example, I'm bad at history, I'm demotivated when it comes to it. My options are to make a YouTube channel that is focused on history, especially ancient Egypt. So if I'm passing that information on to others, then I will learn for myself. What is my goal? My goal is to get a B on my next history test. When is my next history test? It is November 1st. November 1st comes. Did I get a B? Yes. Tick. My SMART goal has been achieved. But you have to get that process on them. So instead of coming up with a normal solution, okay, I will study more. The whole point of it is to be a bit more creative, get them to start thinking. I might, when it comes to my kids, I would advise them to study, but they might come up with, I'll make a YouTube channel, and this is where it's their idea and not my idea. And this is where their accountability comes into it. It's not me forcing them into it. Okay, homework. Homework is one of the most important things, because when they leave the session is when they actually have to do the work to improve themselves. It's not going to happen during the coaching session. During the coaching sessions, You're working your way up to help them to get to that situation. So you would give homework, you would challenge them, you would, for example, for the history, we go back to the history issue, that they are not doing so well in history. They will make a YouTube channel. Their whole objective is to get a B. I will challenge them by 15th of October for them to have actually made the YouTube channel and shown me the YouTube channel. 1st of November is the test, but I challenge them to do something before that, not wait a full month. I think waiting a full month to see an outcome is too long, so I will challenge them with something more. Creative thinking. This is it's the funnest and I think the most difficult part of it, because you as a coach have to come up with a creative way to get them to think creatively. You do not come and say what is the problem, what is the solution. Certain ways that have been used is, for example, we say that the person is a book. What is the title of the book? The whole issue is the title of the book. What is chapter number 1? What is chapter number 2? What is chapter number 3? They start to come up with, this is my chapter, this is the title of my book is my problem, this is my life, what's going on. So you're getting them to start thinking a bit strangely, a bit differently. We don't walk around and say, if your life was a book, what would it be called? Or if your situation at this current moment is a chapter in your book, what is the chapter called? They start thinking a bit differently. There's a lot of imagery that is used in it. You get to close your eyes, visualization. I visualize this problem is an island. Tell me the aspects of the island. What do we have on the island? What is the problem? If the problem is a color, what would the color be? So what did you mix to get this color? If it is a smell, what is the smell? If your problem is, or your goal is a body part, what body part is, where is it? Is it your head? Is it your hand? Why is it there? If it is a, sometimes you might give them things, Play-Doh, Lego, you might think this is childish, but why we do this? We want them to think in a different way. We're trying to change the thinking process to make them more creative. So if you come and tell me what is your problem, I will say, I am stressed. Why are you stressed? I've got too much to do. Why do you have too much to do? Because I've got school, I've got home, I've got my other activities. But they already knew all of this information. We don't want the information in the surface. We're trying to get to the information below the surface. So if you get them to think in a very unusual way, if I have to give you the color of my problem at the moment, I would have to do some thinking on it. One of the most important things is to allow and give them that space for creativity. Do not try to give suggestions. So if I say, the color of my problem, what is the color of my problem, and as a coach you haven't been able to straight away give you a color, give that person time to think about it. Don't say, is it brown, is it black, is it red, is it pink, is it yellow? Don't give them that, don't lead them into that. Then they're not thinking creatively. Give them that space. Let them think creatively in identifying the topic. Let them think creatively in coming up with solutions and the whole process. So this can be used at any time. You can get them to identify their topics through another way that we do this is that we have sort of cards with different pictures, and they have to put a picture together to get this. If you have a lot of, if I do it as a group coaching session, which is very nice as well, you do it as a painting. I have done it as art. So each one has had to draw something, and these were professionals. They were not like high school students or university students, but I managed to get them to just start thinking a bit differently. Where are the issues? Okay, interpret this picture that you guys have done. It could even be done as a class, it can be done individually, it could be done regarding career, life, social activities, everything in general. Another technique is, and this is usually called the wheel of life. This is where you're giving them a wheel and you're asking them to rate it or to fill it out on the things that they are happy with at the moment, or they think that they're good at or satisfied with, and then they look at what they wish they were at. So for example, my grades might be at, let's say out of 10, my grades are a 5, average. I feel I'm satisfied that they're average. My health at the moment is at an 8. My room is at a 1. Okay, so you give them the opportunity now to explain what does a 5 mean, what does a 1 mean, what does an 8 mean. Not you have your preconceived ideas. So most people, if I say my bedroom is at a 1 at the moment, you would think it's messy. That's it. You have your preconceived notion. So what is a 1? It could be that at the moment, I've got to stay at my grandma's house, so I'm not in my comfort zone, so I'm not in my room at the moment for the next 2 weeks. Remember, we're thinking about the moment now, the present moment. Coaching is looking at the present moment, so this is why I'm giving it a 1. Then we start looking at, well, what are the things out of all of this, which one do you want to work on? So I've said that my grades are at a 5, my room is at a 1, and my health is at an 8. So again, you give them the opportunity to decide what they want to work on. I might decide that I want to work on my health, although it's an 8. So we say 8 is pretty satisfied, a 10 is the top, is the perfect. So I would say I work at an 8, I'm going to the gym, I'm eating healthy, everything is going well. I just want to make it at a 9, and I've got, you know, a 5-kilometer run that I've got to do next month. So I just want to spend an extra 30 minutes in the gym that I normally do, and that will be at my 9. So this is going to be my focus. So you are allowing the coachee to come up with their issue. They are saying it. If I look at somebody and they have a 1, I will say, let's focus on number 1. But then they're not going to be accountable for it because you've already told them what they need to work on. They have to decide what they need to work on. You have to understand what's their rating, which is going to the next issue, which is their rating skills. Use rating skills. Use it for identifying the problem. Use it to identify how effective they think the situation is going to be. Use it for identifying the different solutions. Use it for identifying their motivational level, the amount of help that they receive. Use rating scales for everything. And rating does not have to be from 1 to 10, from 0 to 10. It can be different emotion phases. It can be hot, warm, or ice. It can be, think of more creative ways for them to think about it. When we do 1 to 10, we tend to, if we're unsure about something, we put it as 5, 5, 5, 5. But if you put it in a way that they're unable to do it, and able to just put everything in the middle, it will be even better. It will get them to really commit to something. The more creative that you are when it comes to it, the more they might feel intrigued, or they might feel involved and focused into it. So if we sit there and we just say, rate your problem out of 10, rate your solution out of 10, rate solution B out of 10, rate your motivational level for solution 1, rate your motivational level for solution 2, your commitment to solution 1. So think about it. Think about where you can use the rating scales, but you do need to get them to identify issues. You need to identify their problem. You need them to identify their solution. So for example, I might be your coachee, and I might give you 3 different solutions for my problem. So I've given you 3 different solutions. You tell me, I have to rate which one you think is more effective. So we have solution cat, we have solution dog, and we have solution bird. Okay, and I will say solution cat effectiveness for solving my problem is 9 out of 10. Solution dog for solving the effectiveness for solving the problem is 5 out of 10, and bird is 3 out of 10. So you get them to choose the solution. Do not automatically assume the person is going to get a 9. So how do we get them to choose? First of all, we look at the attainability of it. These are the solutions, perfect, but we're going now into SMART goals. So they're coming up with them. which one is measurable? Now, how attainable is it? Can I do solution cat because it's 9 out of 10? It's going to solve my problem, basically. Can I do it? Yes, I can. So I will put cat as at an 8 out of 10 for it being possible to do. Dog, 5 out of 10 again for it being possible to do or not. And bird, 10 out of 10, I can do it. Now, what is my commitment level? Am I committed to do solution cat? Am I committed to do solution dog? Am I committed to do solution bird? I'm committed to do solution dog. Dog, 8 out of 10, I'm committed to it. The rest, I'm not, 1 out of 10. I'm not going to be able to do cat. I can do dog, I cannot do bird. So get that, that's the way you get them to choose. Use unusual names for the solutions. Give them titles, give them an icon, give them a figurine. Use other tools. Do not just put them as option A, option B, option C. Let's be creative. Coaching should be fun. They should not feel they're being forced. They're not sitting in a lecture with a teacher just, giving them all of this information like I'm doing right now. They should be enjoying this, because the coaching process, although it's difficult, they really have to question themselves. It should not be a punishment. You're trying to help them improve. You're motivating them. You're pushing them. How are you motivating them? When you board them to 10, from 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10 for everything. So now let's look at it. I've just talked about some of the techniques. Please do look up other techniques, look at other tools that are out there. Come up with your own. Maybe there's something specific that is relevant to what you guys are doing at the moment in your education establishment, in your high schools, in your universities. Maybe there is something that's very relevant when it comes to your students or your colleagues, whoever you want to use it on. So do come up with your own ideas. Be creative in it. It's a fun process, and ensure that they are creative. Why do we want this? Because we are trying. One of the purposes of coaching is we're trying to make them creative. We're trying to come up with better solutions, improve their skills. So if you're improving their skill and you're improving their creativity as well, especially when it comes to students, this is one of the most important things. And one of the most important competencies in future jobs is creativity. They're asking for that. The other one is accountability and responsibility. And this is what we're trying to do. The other thing is you're trying to get them to do reflection, reflective learning, where they start evaluating and rating themselves. So these are all the steps, these are all the tools that you're incorporating together when it comes to the coaching sessions. So the purpose of coaching and teaching. So we're just, for the next part of the session, we're going to go into, okay, how are we using this in education and what have people found out there? So coaching is usually focused on professional dialogue. It is designed to develop a professional skill. So whether it's academic, whether it is a new tool that they have to work at, in their workplace, the development of the actual skill will probably be through training, but the performance of updating that skill or the motivation from that happens through coaching. So just because I went to a coaching session, it does not mean I will know about ancient Egypt, but the coaching session has helped me understand what I need to do to improve my knowledge of ancient Egypt, which can be when I can go get it from training or teaching or discussions with others. The focus of the coaching is usually selected by the coachee and provides an opportunity for reflection and problem solving. So if you are a teacher and you want to start using these skills in the classroom, it is to promote problem solving. It's to promote self-reflection for them. We have a very rigid assessment process in the educational system. You teach all this information and then they have to memorize it and then just come up with the answer, and then the week after they've forgotten everything that they've memorized. But getting them to think about what works best for them, how will they learn this better, how will they use that information to solve an issue, this will help to retain that information more, and this is where coaching comes in. Embedding a sense of accountability and commitment. So you as an educational establishment, as a teacher, as a guidance counselor in high school, you are trying to improve the whole person. And as I said, with coaching, we're looking at the whole person. Training and teaching, we're looking at a subject. We're looking at them as a student. We're trying to pass on that information. But when it comes to that, looking at them as a whole person, their personality, what we expect for them for their future, how you want to develop them, get them committed not only to the academic course or the professional certificate that they're on, but their career in the future and improving themselves. And to be accountable for all of this, we have I don't want to say it's the current generation, I'm going to say it's actually gone through so many generations, but we have a blaming culture where we try to say, well, that person didn't tell me what to do, or they're the reason. But with coaching, we try to push the person to say, you are responsible for this, you are accountable. This second, as a coachee, we tell them the problem, we identify the solution, and we pick the solution for them to do. Is the second, we've removed all this accountability and I've told you to do it. And that is it. So I'm telling you, spend another half an hour studying, or go clean your room because you rated it as a number 1 out of 10 for satisfaction. So I'm as a coach accountable, not them, and we're not enforcing this. And this is what we have to remember when it comes to coaching. Enhancing the development of a person as a whole, as you are trying to develop their goal, their skill, whatever it is, but you are also developing other parts of their personality, such as accountability, commitment, understanding a need for self-development, a motivational level. So you're doing all of this as well. You're creating a culture of creativity. So even when it comes to educational establishments, when they start putting the coaching techniques, it's happening, not one person is doing it, but it's in the teaching, it's in the minds of the people that are creating the strategies, or the information for the classes, or the whole idea of the school, the values, the vision, the mission of the school, or the educational institute. If they have that sort of coaching background or coaching understanding, then they'll be creating this as a culture as well. Open communication. You don't lie when you're coaching. You're stating what is. You're stating your belief system. You say this is what you interpreted. Is it correct? You are allowing them to talk. Give them that opportunity. You're using different methods to get that information. So you're opening that communication. You're actively listening. This is one of the core purposes of coaching. And motivation. You're championing it. Your whole time you're pushing them, you can do it, you believe in that person, and you are not lying when it comes to coaching. So I believe that this person is not going to be able to do it, and why I believe this, I will say it. I will say that I found that, for the past 3 times you promised this and you didn't do it, but I'm doing it because I've seen it. It's not a preconceived notion somebody else has told me. It's not because he's a 14-year-old boy and he promised he will do his homework and he's not doing his homework, and my idea is 14-year-old boys do not do their homework and they are lying. I'm evaluating, I'm analyzing, I'm listening to them, I'm understanding that this coachee is a separate person from other coachees, and we're getting to that core issues. Okay, so define the purpose of coaching for your educational establishment. So before you go forward and decide, oh, I'm going to use all my methods, I'm going to use the wheel, and I'm going to give them Play-Doh, and I'm going to get them to race with a smiley face. What is the purpose of using coaching for you, for your educational establishment? Is it because you want to add it to the teaching strategy? Is it because at the moment things have gone online and you want to come up with better, more creative ways, and you are kind of putting more accountability on the students at the moment because you're not there to monitor what they're doing, you're trusting that they're doing it? Is it because of this you want to add it? Or is it because you're a school counselor and you want to support the students in a different way? Is it a performance management for the staff, for the teachers? Is it because of the culture that you want to build? So you're not actually coaching a specific person, but you want to put it as a culture that listens to each other, that is creative, that has accountability. Or is there because there's a change management or a difficulty at the moment and coaching is coming in to help people overcome this? So before you start it, you have to understand what is the purpose of it, and then you can understand what can I use. You would still use the same model, you still have the same skills, but what tools and techniques will be most appropriate for me to use? I might be trying to come up with a teaching strategy with the board of directors, or I might be thinking about the way forward with it. I'm not going to use Play-Doh. I might use something else. Okay, so coaching in education. So they have found that, first of all, what is coaching in education? What is a coaching culture? They've defined what is a coaching culture. So they have said that it is using consistently by all partners across the school community to help develop the learning, the understanding, the personal responsibility in others, from staff, parents, governors, students, stakeholders. So a coaching culture, to the researchers, one definition is that understanding the development of the learning and the personal responsibility, the accountability for everyone. It's not just a one-on-one coaching session. That is just a coaching session. But creating a culture means it is a coaching culture that the parents understand, the student understands, the stakeholders understand, the teachers understand, the community understand that this is the culture that we have embedded. What is our culture? Our culture is that you are accountable for your actions. Our culture is that you will be open in your communication. Our culture is that you will be more creative when you are coming up with ideas. Our culture, what it is. So having that understanding that it is to develop yourself. Coaching is we want to keep developing ourselves. So coaching can be part of 4 different initiatives: educational leadership, enhancing professional practice, student success and well-being, community, including parents' engagement. So there are the different, and research has found this. They have found that when coaching culture has been embedded in an educational institute, that there has been this sort of improvement. So what is educational leadership? So if a teacher is being coached, or her leaders, whoever her team lead, head of a center, principal, headmaster, dean, if they are using a coaching technique for them, it enhances their leadership skills, which enhances the students' leadership skills, which is where we try to go, right? We try to make our students leaders. We try to improve this in people. They are found that in institutes that do have a coaching culture, that the teaching practice gets enhanced, because we are saying that always have a goal, always push yourself, always have something that you are doing. Our life passes by and we have stayed exactly the same, nothing has been improved. But coaching is saying that you are continuously improving. So if coaching is continuously happening, the person is continuously improving. There has to be something additional. The teaching practices do change. And this is what they have found as well, that once these have been embedded into an institute, that all of these have improved. We also have student success and well-being. If the leadership is being pushed, if you are rounding off this person with having accountability, being creative, believing in themselves, being motivated, understanding how to communicate better, having a goal, trying to improve themselves, well, this is where the students' well-being starts getting better. And when we talked about the culture and the coaching culture and how it embeds everybody, it does have an effect on the community, on the parent engagement, how they come across the understanding of it. So why is it important? It's important for alignment, to understand that we're all on the same page. If I am communicating openly, if everybody's understanding what I mean, if we all have that understanding that we're improving, if the SMART goals that have been said, if we have a strategy of, for example, let's say coaching. As an education institute, our strategy for leadership is using coaching models. Then we are all on the same page. Not one person is using something different, another person is using some, different techniques, but we're on understanding of how to go forward, how to improve overall, not just as a person. Mutual reinforcement, championing, being there for each other, having that understanding, creating a consistency of achieving better, pushing each other, performing better, having that mutual reinforcement. I'm getting better, you're getting better, we're all getting better. Time and cost, it has had an effect. Institutes that use coaching have found that they've been able to optimize what's happening, be more efficient with their timing, with their cost, because everybody is working on it. If I am thinking about a development and I'm thinking about your development as well as my development and everybody else's development, then I'm being spread. But if everyone takes that own accountability and everyone takes that own responsibility, not waiting for that further instruction, so you're giving them more of a chance to understand for themselves, believe in themselves, reflect on themselves, and push themselves to improve, then this is where it's more effective, because everybody's doing it for themselves. But we're still on a mutual understanding, we're still having progress reports, we're still having the feedback. That needs to be there. The relevance, the time has to be embedded, and this is why we talked about the SMART goals. And the impact on student learning outcomes. It has become more significant when they have found that coaching has been attributed in the schools, when they've started including it in the educational system. And it's more consistent and it's more understood by them. So how to start a coaching culture for learning, how to start using it. Number one, develop a system. First, develop yourself. You can't tell others this is perfect, let's do it, if you haven't done it, whether it's been done on you or you're doing it on other people. A lot of coaches, before they become coaches, they are being coached to get that feeling, to improve themselves. I believe in this and I will do it to others. Make a sense of the whole. So provide the rationale. Why is it there? Is it actually effective? It might not be. Create the system. Look at the policies. The first thing that we said about coaching skills is you have to have an alliance. You have to understand what this is. It has to be clear. What are the policies? What is the processes? What does coaching mean? What is the roles of everybody? So there's no misunderstanding. We're trying to be in a mutual agreement together. Focus on the principles. So ensure that the principles of coaching are there. We understand, it's clear. Everybody is going to get what they're supposed to. If it doesn't work, we say it doesn't work and we stop it. We don't waste time on it. Equip staff with the coaching skills. So I'm telling you today some of the tools to be used, but I'm sure as I'm explaining it, you're seeing for yourself that there's a lot of practice when it comes to it. This might not just have to be one person that can do it, but if you are changing from one person and more of an establishment that has that culture, maybe others need to do it. So, or have an understanding of the skill. So if you're a student guidance counselor and you're going to be doing this for the students, you might be actually explaining it to the faculty as well, to the teachers as well. This is what we do. This is what happens. They can embed it in their teaching. So the culture is there. So they don't think, oh, only because of the student counselor, only because Manal is here. So in front of her, Miss Manal is here, in front of her, I have to ensure that I've done it. But, you know, I'm trying to think of another teacher's name. Mr. Adil is here, I don't care. So it has to be consistent. You don't want to confuse the structure in it. Yes, you'll be using different techniques. You'll be using teaching, mentoring, coaching, but try to ensure that everybody understands what this is as well. Review it. Does it work or not? Do we need to change it? Reward it. Champion the coaching process as well. Use and build external networks. So use that coaching to develop them outside of it, not just internally. Look at the skills of others. Look at the experience of others. Embed it. As I said, a lot of times when it comes to coaching, we learn techniques, we create techniques, we explain it to others, we help others in it, because it is just helping improve society, community as a whole. The most similar thing when it comes to coaching that are done in schools or universities is the student-centered coaching approach. So this is usually done by a lot of people that are out there that are trying to get into creating a coaching culture. So I thought I'll just put the core practices here for you to have that understanding. I know we have only 5 minutes, so if anyone has any questions, just put it in. As soon as I'm done, I might be able to answer those questions. Okay, so the core practices: set a goal for student learning. So you have that, the goals are there. SMART goals, I keep saying SMART goals is the most important thing. Work from learning targets, whether it is, you know, you're doing it with your teacher or doing it for yourself. Have you as a create an atmosphere where the student themselves put their learning targets. Yes, you have your learning outcomes, you know, from your class. From science, I'm supposed to learn this, this, and this. From history, I'm supposed to learn that. From HR course, I'm supposed to learn something else. But what is my personal target as well? So ensure that they start writing this for themselves, their goals, SMART. Plan using student evidence. So this even goes into more of working on the outcome, the assessments of all of this. So how do I know I've achieved this? Where's my evidence for it? How do I have my reflective learning? All of this, having my targets at the beginning, showing the progression, what I've done, rating myself, thinking about it. Where is it? Where's my evidence for it? And collecting that evidence allows the person to create that evidence, have that folder, and you're assessing them throughout the course. It's not just one exam at the end or little quizzes here and there. There might be different ways of doing it. Co-teaching to refine the teaching practices. So having more than one teacher there, more than one teacher in a section, it's basically telling you to start thinking of a different way to approach education. If you're going to embed coaching in it, if you're going to make it more student approach, you have to start thinking creatively of not doing the typical classes that we're so used to. Organize and using coaching cycles. So your coaching cycle is your model, it's the grow model. So you have looking at your goal, looking at your reality, looking at your options and your wrap up. These are your coaching cycles. Make sure you keep going around this. After my wrap up, I see you again, we go back to my goal. So from that to this, where is it? We had already, the pre 5-minute check-in, that some process should be there for it. So then we go through the model and measure the impact of the coaching. Has this worked? Has this teaching worked? And you have to be able to define what is your understanding, if it's worked or not. When it comes to teaching, when it comes to mentoring, when it comes to coaching, what is my return on investment when it comes to it, on my students or on the staff, whoever I'm using. Okay, so this is my last slide. I'm just going to say what we should have taken away from today is have an understanding the difference about teaching, coaching, mentoring and counseling. Understand the role of the coach and the role of the coachee and their responsibilities. Look at the different coaching skills, the 10 coaching skills that I said. So active listening, questioning, motivation, the contract that you have to do, stating what is. We looked at the models. There are many different models, but we focused on the GROW model. And as I said, most of them have come from the GROW model. The different techniques, I gave you ideas of the different ways you can do it, the different tools that are out there. You can make your own, but the whole purpose of it is to ensure that you understand their goal, you understand what their, the situation they're in at the moment, where they want to go, how for them to get there and get that commitment. So all of these tools should be used to aid in this. We looked at the purpose of coaching. What is coaching? What is coaching not? And how to start thinking about it in an educational institute. If this is something that you want to embed within your system, you have to understand how it will be beneficial, if it's going to be beneficial, and how to have it consistent throughout the whole place. And how to start a coaching culture. Now, I touched upon the student approach to coaching, and this basically is asking you to have another look at how you are passing on that information, especially at the moment when things have changed. People are starting to become more creative. They are thinking of new ways, but they're actually just using the same technique using a different aid. So they were in my classroom with me. Now I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm doing it online. I'm actually even in a classroom doing it online. Okay, so we have to start thinking, what else can I do? What other ways can I assess this? Maybe my assessment is not going to be a quiz anymore. Maybe it's going to be evidence-based. What is the next way of going? And this is where you start incorporating coaching into the educational system and into your teaching strategies. There's any questions? Okay, so far there's no questions on the thing. It is 4:30, so I do have to end the session, but you guys have all got my emails. I have emailed you guys the link for this, so please do email me your questions. I will respond back to you. I will help you with this. If you're thinking about coaching, then just do let me know and I will help guide you. I'm available for this to discuss it more. If you're thinking about embedding it into the coaching, into the culture of your educational institute, do again. I'll be happy to help with anything when it comes to it. I'll give you guys just another 2-3 minutes if you have any questions to ask, and then I will say goodbye. You're welcome. I hope it did help, and I hope it did explain what is coaching, and just try to lessen the confusion of a lot of people say we're counseling or we're coaching or we're mentoring, but just have that understanding the actual differences between them, and just see how this is such an important thing that we can just start using and adding into every aspect of our lives, in our teaching, in how we deal with the students as a guidance counselor, how we use it as a team lead, as a manager. So hopefully this will be beneficial for you guys. You're welcome. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I think we've passed it's 4:33, so we passed the time. And as I said, you guys do have my email, so if there's any questions, please do email me. I'll be happy to respond and to help you guys.